The wedding was small and quiet, just like the groom. Yuna stood beside Deho in the garden behind her father's house, wearing a simple white dress. She looked at the man who would become her husband and tried to find something to feel happy about. He was tall and had kind eyes, but he barely spoke. During the entire ceremony, he said only what was necessary. "I do." That was it. Yuna's father, Governor Taman, smiled throughout the ceremony. He had arranged this marriage 3 months ago, and Yuna had agreed because that was what good daughters did. Her father ruled New Bekdu, a peaceful colony world where humans grew food and traded with alien species. Yuna worked as a diplomat, talking to aliens and making trade agreements. She was good at her job. People respected her, but her father worried. A rich family from another world wanted Yuna to marry their son. If that happened, Yuna would leave New Bekdu forever. Governor Taman could not bear to lose his daughter, so he found Deho instead. Deho worked at the agricultural processing plant. He fixed machines when they broke. He had saved Governor Taman's life 2 years ago, when a harvesting machine malfunctioned. Deho had pulled the governor free just before the machine crushed him. After that, Taman had kept an eye on the quiet maintenance worker. When he needed a husband for Yuna, someone who would stay on New Bekdu and not take his daughter away, Deho seemed perfect. "He's a good man," Taman had told Yuna. "Hard-working, honest. He won't give you any trouble." Yuna had met Deho only twice before the wedding. Both times he had said very little. He answered questions with single words when possible. Yes. No. Thank you. His dark eyes watched everything but revealed nothing. Yuna found him frustrating. How could she marry someone she didn't know? But she did it anyway. For her father. For duty. After the ceremony, they went to Deho's small house on the edge of the colony's main city. It had 2 bedrooms, a kitchen, and a living area with large windows that looked out over the farming fields. Everything was clean and organized. Too organized, Yuna thought, like no one really lived there. "You can have the larger bedroom," Deho said, his first complete sentence of the day. "We're married now," Yuna replied. "Shouldn't we share?" Deho looked uncomfortable. "If you prefer. I just thought you might want space." They shared the bedroom, but Deho kept to his side. He woke up early every morning and went to work. He came home late. He ate dinner quietly, cleaned his dishes, and went to bed. On weekends, he worked in the small garden behind the house or fixed things that weren't even broken. Yuna continued her diplomatic work. She spent her days negotiating with the Viral Collective, an insect-like alien species that sold rare minerals. She also worked with the Nomine Commonwealth, aquatic aliens who traded in genetic materials for agriculture. She was busy, and that was good. It meant she didn't have to think about her strange, silent husband. 3 months passed. Yuna and Deho lived like polite strangers. He never raised his voice. He never complained. He never asked her about her day. Sometimes Yuna would try to start a conversation, but Deho would answer in as few words as possible, then return to whatever he was doing. "Did you grow up on Earth?" she asked once. "No," he said. "Where then?" "Different places." "Do you have family?" "No." It was like talking to a wall. Eventually, Yuna stopped trying. Then everything changed. It was a normal morning. Yuna was preparing for a meeting with Viral traders when her father called. His voice sounded wrong. Tight. Scared. "Yuna, come to my office immediately. Don't tell anyone where you're going." She arrived to find her father standing at his window, staring up at the sky. Other officials crowded the room, all looking worried. Through the window, Yuna saw it. A massive ship hung in orbit above New Bekdu. It was dark and organic-looking, covered in strange patterns. A Viral warship. "They arrived an hour ago," Taman said. "They're demanding we surrender someone to them. A human fugitive, they say, is hiding on our world." "Who?" Yuna asked. Her father turned to her, his face pale. "They call him the Blade of Terra. They say he's a war criminal. They say he destroyed one of their hive worlds 15 years ago during the border conflicts. They want him or they'll destroy our colony." Yuna's mind raced. The border conflicts were old history. Minor skirmishes between human expansion and various alien territories. She had studied them in school. Nothing major, just small battles over resources and territory. "The Viral are peaceful traders," she said. "Why would they threaten us now?" "Because they're afraid," said General Minho, the head of New Bekdu's small defense force. "I've been reviewing old military records. The Blade of Terra was real. A single human operative deployed during the conflicts. The reports are classified, but what I can access is terrifying. Entire Vril battle fleets destroyed. Hive cities burned, all by one person. That's impossible, Una said. The Vril don't think so. They've been hunting this person for 15 years, and they think he's here. Governor Taman activated a holographic display. The Vril commander's face appeared insect-like and cold. You have 72 hours to surrender the war criminal known as the Blade of Terra. We have provided his last known operations in your database. If you do not comply, we will reduce your colony to ash. There will be no negotiation. The hologram disappeared. The room fell silent. Can we fight them? Taman asked General Minho. No. We have one defense satellite and a handful of patrol ships. They have a warship that could crack our planet open. Our only hope is diplomacy. Everyone looked at Una. She was their best diplomat. If anyone could talk the Vril down, it was her. I'll try, she said. But first I need to understand what really happened during the border conflicts. I need access to all our records on the Blade of Terra. She worked through the day and into the night, reading everything she could find. Most of it was redacted or classified, but what she could read made her skin cold. The Blade of Terra had been real. A human weapon. A ghost that had killed thousands. And somewhere on New Bektu he was hiding. Una returned home late, exhausted and worried. The house was dark. She found Deho in the living room, standing at the window, staring up at the sky. At the Vril warship's lights, you heard, she said. It wasn't a question. Yes, Deho replied. His voice was quiet as always, but something in his posture seemed different. Tense. They're looking for someone called the Blade of Terra, a war criminal. I know. Una watched her husband's reflection in the window. For just a moment she saw something in his eyes she had never seen before, something cold and calculating, something that didn't belong in a simple maintenance worker. Deho, she said slowly, do you know something about this? Her husband was silent for a long time. Then he turned to face her. His expression was calm, but his eyes held a weight that seemed to press against her chest. Yes, he said simply. I know everything about it. And Una suddenly realized that she had never really known her husband at all. Una stared at her husband, the quiet man who fixed machines and never said more than necessary, the man who had been a stranger for 3 months of marriage. He stood in their living room with his hands at his sides, looking at her with those dark, unreadable eyes. What do you mean? She asked, though part of her already knew the answer. Part of her had known the moment she saw him staring at the warship in the sky. Sit down, Deho said. It was the longest sentence he had spoken to her in weeks. Please, Una sat on the couch. Her legs felt weak. Deho remained standing by the window. He looked out at the farming fields, at the peaceful colony that might be destroyed in 72 hours. 15 years ago, I was a soldier, he began. His voice was still quiet, but different now. More controlled. Like he was choosing each word carefully. Not a regular soldier. A special operations unit. The Terran military had programs back then. Secret programs. They did things to soldiers. Made them faster, stronger, better at killing. Augmentation programs, Una whispered. She had heard rumors about them. Most people thought they were just stories. Yes, I volunteered when I was 18. I wanted to serve humanity. To protect our colonies from alien threats. They trained me for 5 years. Taught me how to fight.
How to infiltrate.
How to destroy entire military installations alone. He paused. How to kill without hesitation. Una felt cold. This couldn't be her husband. The man who carefully tended their garden. Who fixed broken machines. Who never even raised his voice. During the border conflicts, the Vril expanded into human territory. They attacked 3 of our colony worlds. Killed thousands. Terran Command decided to respond with maximum force. They sent me. Deho's hands clenched into fists. I followed my orders. I infiltrated a Vril hive world. I destroyed their military infrastructure, their weapons facilities, their command centers. They say you killed 30,000 Vril, Una said, remembering the reports. Yes. The word was barely a whisper. I did, and when I was done, the Vril stopped their expansion. The war ended. Terran Command told me I had saved millions of human lives. They gave me medals I never wanted. Then they classified everything and told me to disappear. So you came here. To New Bektu, Deho nodded. I spent 2 years in rehabilitation programs first. Learning how to be normal again. How to not see threats everywhere. How to sleep without nightmares. They gave me a new identity. Erased my military records. Sent me to the most peaceful place they could find. a farming colony where nothing ever happened. He finally turned to look at her. I thought I could leave it behind. I thought I could just be a regular person, fix machines, grow vegetables, maybe find some peace. You saved my father's life, Yuna said. The machine accident was real. I didn't plan it. But yes, I saved him because I could, because my augmentations let me move fast enough. I thought that would be it. One good thing to balance out all the bad things. But then he arranged our marriage. Yuna felt a surge of anger. Did you know? Before the wedding? Yes, he asked me himself. Said I had proven my loyalty, that I was a good, quiet man who would make his daughter happy. Daeho's laugh was bitter. I should have refused. Should have told him the truth. But I was tired of being alone. And you were kind, beautiful, smart. I thought maybe I could have a normal life, be a normal husband. But you're not normal, Yuna said. It wasn't an accusation. Just a fact, no, I'm not. And now the Vral have found me. They've been hunting me for 15 years. They want justice for what I did to their hive world. And they won't stop until they get it. Yuna stood up, her mind racing. She was a diplomat. There had to be a solution that didn't involve violence. We can negotiate. Explain what happened. The Vral attacked first. You were following orders. They don't care. To them, I'm a monster who slaughtered their people. They're right. Daeho walked to the kitchen and pressed his hand against the wall. A hidden panel slid open. Inside was something Yuna had never seen. A black suit that seemed to absorb light. A sword that glowed with a strange dark energy. Equipment that looked alien and terrible. I kept these, Daeho said. I told myself it was just a precaution. That I would never use them again. But I knew. Deep down, I knew the past would find me eventually. What are you going to do? Yuna asked. I'm going to surrender. If I turn myself in, maybe they'll leave the colony alone. Maybe your father and everyone else will be safe. They'll kill you. I know. Yuna grabbed his arm. No, there has to be another way. Let me try to negotiate. I can talk to them. Explain the situation. We can find a peaceful solution. Daeho looked at her hand on his arm, then at her face. For the first time since their wedding, she saw real emotion in his eyes. Sadness, regret, maybe even affection. You're a good person, Yuna, too good for someone like me. I'm sorry your father arranged this marriage. Sorry you got stuck with a broken soldier pretending to be a man. Stop, Yuna said firmly. You're not broken. You're my husband. And I don't abandon people I care about. Something shifted in Daeho's expression. You care about me? Yuna was surprised by her own answer. Yes, I do. We might not have a normal marriage. We might barely know each other. But you're a good man. I've seen how carefully you work. How you help our neighbors when their equipment breaks. How you leave food for the stray cats behind our house. That's who you are. Not some ghost from the past. Before Daeho could respond, Yuna's communication device buzzed. It was her father. His face appeared on the small screen and he looked terrified. Yuna, where are you? The Vrel just launched dropships. They're landing in the capital. They're not waiting for the deadline. They're coming now. Through the window, Yuna saw lights in the sky. Dozens of them. Vral ships descending toward the city. In the distance, she heard the first sounds of weapons fire. Dad, get to the emergency bunker, Yuna said. I'm at the governor's compound. The defense forces are trying to evacuate civilians, but there's not enough time. These virile warriors are cutting through everything. Yuna, I'm sorry. I failed to protect our people. The communication cut off as an explosion lit up the night sky. Daeho stared at the fires beginning to spread through the city. His jaw tightened. They're not here to arrest me. They're here to make sure I'm dead, and they don't care who else dies in the process. He turned to the hidden panel and pulled out the black suit. Yuna watched as he began putting it on. The material moved like it was alive, forming to his body perfectly. He attached the sword to his back. What are you doing? Yuna asked, though she already knew. I told myself I would never be that person again, that I would never raise my sword, never kill. Daeho's voice was hard now, cold, the voice of the soldier he used to be. But I also made a promise when I came to this world. I promised to protect it, to protect the people who gave me a chance to start over. He looked at Yuna. I'm going to stop them. I'm going to save your father, save this colony, and then, if I survive, you can decide if you still want to be married to a monster. You're not a monster, Yuna insisted. Daeho smiled sadly. Wait until you see me fight, then tell me what I am. He walked toward the door. Yuna followed him. I'm coming with you. No, it's too dangerous. My father is in that building. My people are dying. I'm coming. Daeho looked at her for a long moment, then nodded. Stay behind me always. If I tell you to run, you run. Understand? Yes. They left the house together. Daeho moved differently now. No longer the slow, careful walk of a maintenance worker. He moved like a predator. Fast, silent, deadly. As they ran toward the city, toward the fires and screams and death, Yuna realized that her quiet, humble husband had been hiding a sword his entire life. And now, for the first time, she was about to see what happened when he raised it. She was terrified. Not of the Vril, but of what Daeho might become. The governor's compound was burning. Yuna ran beside Daeho through the streets, and everywhere she looked, there was destruction. Buildings collapsed. People screamed. The colonial security forces fired their weapons at massive insect-like warriors, but their bullets barely scratched the Vril armor. A Vril warrior stood 3 meters tall, covered in black chitinous plates. Its 4 arms each held a weapon that crackled with blue energy. It saw Daeho and Yuna, and made a clicking sound that might have been laughter. Then it raised its weapons. Daeho moved so fast that Yuna almost couldn't see it. One moment he was beside her. The next he was behind the Vril warrior. His dark sword cut through the alien's armored neck like it was paper. The massive creature fell in 2 pieces. Keep moving, Daeho said. His voice was calm. Too calm, they ran. More Vril appeared. Daeho killed them all. He didn't waste movement. Every step had purpose. Every swing of his sword was precise. Yuna had never seen anything like it. Her husband, the quiet man who fixed machines, was destroying trained alien warriors like they were nothing. They reached the compound gates. 20 colonial guards were making a last stand against a group of Vril. The humans were losing. Bodies lay everywhere. A young guard, barely 20 years old, was screaming for help as a Vril warrior stood over him, ready to kill. Daeho threw his sword. It spun through the air, cutting through 3 Vril warriors before returning to his hand like it was attached by an invisible string. The guard stared in shock. The Vril warriors turned toward this new threat. Get inside, Daeho told the guards. Protect the civilians. I'll handle this. Who are you? One guard asked. Someone who made a promise. Daeho walked forward to meet the remaining Vril warriors. There were 15 of them. They surrounded him, weapons ready. Daeho stood in the center, his black suit making him look like a shadow given form. What happened next would be talked about for years. Yuna watched from the gates, her hand over her mouth as her husband fought. He moved between the Vril warriors like water flowing around rocks. Their weapons never touched him. His sword cut through their armor, their weapons, their bodies. He used their own attacks against them, redirecting energy blasts to hit other warriors. He grabbed weapons from dead Vril and used them until they ran out of power, then discarded them and took new ones. In 2 minutes, all 15 Vril warriors were dead or dying. Daeho stood among the bodies, not even breathing hard. His suit had some scratches, but he was uninjured. He turned to Yuna, and for a moment she saw something in his eyes. A question. Was she afraid of him now? She ran to him and grabbed his arm. My father. He's in the command center. Daeho nodded. They entered the compound together. More Vril warriors were inside, fighting through the hallways. Daeho cut through them. The walls were covered in burn marks and blood, both human and alien. Bodies lay everywhere. Yuna tried not to look, but she couldn't help seeing the faces of people she knew. Friends, colleagues, dead because the Vril wanted revenge. They found Governor Taemin in the command center with General Minho and a handful of survivors. The room was barricaded, but the doors were starting to break. The Vril were coming through. Yuna! Her father's face was pale with relief and fear. Then he saw Daeho, saw the black suit, the glowing sword, the way he moved. Understanding dawned on Taemin's face. You're him, the Blade of Terra. I married my daughter to the man they're hunting. I'm sorry I didn't tell you, Daeho said. But right now that doesn't matter. How many Vril are in the compound? General Minho checked his tactical display. At least 50, maybe more. They're converging on this location. We have maybe 5 minutes before they break through. Then I have 5 minutes. Daeho looked at Yuna. Stay here. Protect your father. What are you going to do? Yuna asked. What I should have done from the start. End this. He turned to General Minho. Is there a communication system I can use to reach their warship? Yes, but why? Just show me. Minho activated the communication console. Deho stood in front of it, his face grim. Vril Hive Commander, this is the one you call the Blade of Terra. I know you can hear me. Your warriors are dying because of me. Your hive world burned because of me. If you want justice, face me yourself. Stop killing innocent people who have nothing to do with our war. Be a warrior, fight me. One-on-one. The response came immediately. A massive Vril appeared on the screen. It was covered in scars and its compound eyes burned with hatred. Blade of Terra. For 15 years I have hunted you. For 15 years I have dreamed of crushing you beneath my feet. You killed my hive mother. You burned our spawning grounds. My entire nest clan died because of you. I know, Deho said simply. I was following orders, but that doesn't make it right. I've lived with what I did every day since. If you want to kill me, I won't stop you. But leave these people alone. They're innocent. There are no innocents in war. You taught me that when you burned my world. Then you learned the wrong lesson. Be better than me. Be better than what I was. The Vril commander was silent for a moment. Then it made a decision. Very well. I will come down to your world. We will fight. If you defeat me, my warriors will leave. If I kill you, your colony burns. Do you accept? Yes, no. Governor Taman grabbed Deho's arm. You can't. That thing is a Vril hive commander. They're bred for war, enhanced with biotechnology. It's 4 meters tall and has been training to kill you for 15 years. Deho looked at Taman with sad eyes. I know what it is. And it's still the only way to save everyone. If I run, the Vril will glass this planet from orbit. If I hide, they'll kill everyone looking for me. This is the only option. Yuna stepped forward. There has to be another way. Let me negotiate. I'm a diplomat. I can— No, the Vril commander interrupted. The time for words is past. Blade of Terra and I will settle this with blood. Meet me in the Central Plaza in 10 minutes. Come alone or I will kill everyone in that building first. The communication cut off. Deho turned to face the survivors in the command center. They all stared at him with a mixture of fear and hope. I need everyone to evacuate to the emergency bunkers. Get as many civilians as you can. If I fail, get to the transport ships and leave the planet. If you fail, we're all dead, General Minho said bluntly. I know. That's why I won't fail. Deho walked toward the door, but Yuna blocked his path. Deho, you don't have to do this. We can find another way. He touched her face gently. It was the first time he had really touched her since their wedding. His hand was warm. You asked me once if I regretted coming to this world. If I regretted trying to be normal. I don't. These have been the best 7 years of my life, and these last 3 months being married to you, even though I was too afraid to really talk to you, were the happiest I've ever been. Then don't go. Don't leave me. I have to. Because if I don't protect this world, protect you, then what was the point of any of it? What was the point of trying to be a better person? He smiled sadly. You told me I'm not a monster. Let me prove you right. Let me use this sword one last time for something good. He kissed her forehead, then walked out of the command center. The Vril warriors in the hallways tried to stop him, but he cut through them like they were nothing. Yuna watched from the doorway as he left the building and walked toward the central plaza. The Vril dropship was landing. It was huge, designed to carry heavy cargo and war machines. The loading ramp lowered and the hive commander emerged. It was even bigger than the warriors. 4 meters of muscle and chitin and rage. It carried a massive blade that crackled with energy. Deho stood in the center of the plaza holding his dark sword. Around the plaza, Vril warriors gathered to watch. Human survivors watched from windows and doorways. The two fighters faced each other across the empty space. Yuna ran to the edge of the plaza, ignoring her father's protests. She had to see this. Had to see if her husband, the quiet man who fixed machines and grew vegetables, could really defeat a monster bred for war. The hive commander spoke, its voice booming across the plaza. I am Commander Hythe of the 3rd Hive Fleet. I have killed 3,000 enemies in honorable combat. I have destroyed 50 human vessels. I am vengeance for my fallen nest clan, and you, Blade of Terra, are dead. Deho raised his sword. When he spoke, his voice was quiet, but somehow everyone heard it. I am Deho. I fix machines. I grow tomatoes. I'm married to a woman too good for me, and I'm trying very hard not to be the monster you think I am. Then you have already lost, the hive commander charged. Its massive blade came down like falling thunder. Deho moved, and the real fight began. The hive commander's blade struck the ground where Deho had been standing. The impact cracked the plaza stones and sent chunks of debris flying. But Daiho was already gone, moving to the side with impossible speed. His dark sword flashed, cutting across the commander's armored leg. The blade should have cut through. It had cut through every other virile warrior's armor like paper, but the commander's armor held. Sparks flew, and the alien barely seemed to notice the strike. "You will have to do better than that, Blade of Terra," Commander Hythe said. It swung its massive weapon in a wide arc. Daiho ducked under it, then jumped over a follow-up strike that would have cut him in half. He landed and immediately had to roll away from a stomp that would have crushed him. The fight was brutal. The commander was bigger and stronger, with 4 arms and bio-enhanced reflexes. But Daiho was faster, moving like smoke around the alien's attacks. Every time the commander struck, Daiho was somewhere else. Every time there was an opening, Daiho's sword found it, chipping away at the commander's armor. Yuna watched from the edge of the plaza, her hands clenched so tight her nails drew blood. Her father stood beside her, along with General Minho and dozens of other survivors. All around the plaza, Vral warriors watched their commander fight. They made clicking sounds of approval when Hythe landed a hit, and angry buzzing when Daiho scored a strike. Minutes passed. Then 10 minutes. Then 20. Both fighters were slowing down. The commander's armor was covered in cuts and dents. Green blood leaked from several wounds. Daiho's black suit was torn in places, and he was limping slightly from a hit that had caught his leg. "He's losing," General Minho whispered. "The commander is too strong." "No," Yuna said. "Look, Daiho is learning. Every exchange he's figuring out the commander's patterns." She was right. Daiho was adapting. His strikes became more precise, targeting the same spots on the commander's armor over and over. The alien's movements were slowing. It was getting tired. Then the commander did something unexpected. It threw its massive blade at Daiho. The weapon spun through the air like a disk of death. Daiho dodged, but that was what the commander wanted. While Daiho was focused on the thrown weapon, Hythe charged forward and grabbed him with 2 of its arms. The commander lifted Daiho off the ground and slammed him into the plaza stones. Once, twice, 3 times. Yuna screamed. The impacts were so hard they cracked the ground. Then the commander threw Daiho across the plaza. He hit a building wall and fell, not moving. "Daiho!" Yuna started to run toward him, but her father held her back. "You can't. The rules of the challenge." "I don't care about the rules." She struggled, but Taemin held firm. The commander walked slowly toward Daiho's body. "I expected more from the legendary Blade of Terra. You are just a man, weak, mortal. You should have died 15 years ago with my hive mother." Daiho stirred. Slowly, painfully, he pushed himself to his feet. Blood ran down his face. His arm hung at a wrong angle, but he still held his sword. "You're right," he said, his voice rough. "I should have died 15 years ago. I've thought about it every day since. Every time I close my eyes, I see the faces of the people I killed. Your hive mother, the Vral civilians, the spawning grounds burning." He limped forward, raising his sword. "But I didn't die, and I have to live with what I did. So if you're going to kill me, do it. But know this. I'm not the same person who burned your world. I've spent 7 years trying to be better, trying to atone." The commander paused. "Atone? You think growing vegetables and fixing machines erases what you did?" "No, nothing can erase it. But at least I'm trying." "What are you doing?" "You're about to kill thousands of innocent people because you want revenge on one man. How does that make you different from what I was?" "I am different because I fight for my people. You fought for your government's lies." "Lies?" Daiho straightened, ignoring the pain. "What do you mean?" Commander Hythe's compound eyes seemed to gleam. "You do not know? Of course not. They would not tell their weapon the truth. The hive world you destroyed was not a military target, Blade of Terra. My hive mother was leading peace negotiations with your government. We were trying to end the border conflicts, but certain humans wanted the war to continue. So they sent you. They told you lies about our world and you believed them." Daiho stood very still. Yuna could see the shock on his face even from across the plaza. That's not possible. I saw the intelligence reports. Your world was building weapons, preparing an invasion. Manufactured evidence. We have proof. We captured one of your intelligence officers 10 years ago. Before he died, he confessed everything. Your government betrayed both of us. They used you to kill my people and continue their profitable war. The plaza was silent. Even the virile warriors had stopped their clicking and buzzing. Daeho's sword lowered. It was all a lie? Yes. You are not a monster, Blade of Terra. You are a tool that was used by monsters, just as I am being used now. My superiors sent me here not for justice, but to erase evidence of what your government did. To kill you so you could never learn the truth. Yuna's mind raced. This changed everything. She pushed away from her father and ran into the plaza. Commander Hythe, I'm Yuna, a diplomatic representative of New Bekdu. If what you say is true, we have a common enemy, the Terran officials who caused this. Stay back, human female, the commander warned. No, listen to me. I've spent the last 3 months negotiating trade agreements with your people. I have access to both Viral and Terran databases. If there's proof of this conspiracy, I can find it. I can expose the people responsible. We can have real justice instead of just more killing. The commander turned its massive head to look at her. Why would you help us? This human is your mate. Viral intelligence has been watching him. We know about your arranged marriage. He's my husband, Yuna corrected. And yes, I want to help him, but I also want the truth. My father is the governor of this colony. If Terran officials have been lying to us, manipulating us into wars we don't need, then I want them exposed and punished. Daeho walked over to stand beside Yuna. His broken arm hung useless, but his eyes were clear. She's offering you something better than revenge, Commander. Real accountability. The people who actually caused this suffering would face justice. Pretty words. But how do I know this is not another trick? Because I'm giving you my word as a diplomat, Yuna said. And because Daeho is giving you his word as the man who wronged your people. We'll work together to find the truth. All of it. And we'll make sure the galaxy knows what happened. Commander Hythe was silent for a long moment. The other virile warriors waited, their weapons ready. If the commander decided to continue fighting, the truce would end, and everyone would die. Finally, the commander spoke. Very well. I will give you 1 week. Find proof of this conspiracy. Expose those responsible. If you succeed, I will consider my hive mother's honor satisfied. If you fail, or if this is a trick, I will return and finish what I started here. The commander turned and walked back toward its dropship. The other Vral warriors followed, their weapons lowering. Within minutes, the Vral ships were lifting off, returning to their warship in orbit. The plaza erupted in cheers. Colonists emerged from buildings, celebrating their survival. Governor Taman rushed to his daughter, wrapping her in a tight hug. General Minho ordered medical teams to help the wounded, but Daeho just stood in the center of the plaza, staring at his hands. Yuna went to him, carefully touching his good arm. Daeho, are you okay? It was all a lie, he whispered. Everything I did, everyone I killed, it was based on lies. I'm not a hero who saved humanity. I'm just a murderer who was too stupid to ask questions. No, you were a soldier following orders. The people who lied to you are the ones responsible. I should have known, should have checked, should have... His voice broke. Yuna pulled him close, letting him lean on her. We're going to fix this. Together. We're going to find the truth and make them pay. I promise you. He looked down at her, and for the first time she saw tears in his eyes. Why are you helping me? You should hate me. I'm exactly what Commander Hythe said. A tool, a weapon, not a real person. You're my husband, Yuna said firmly. You're a man who tried to be better, who spent 7 years fixing machines and growing tomatoes because you wanted to atone. That's real. That's who you are. Not the weapon they made you. The man you chose to become. Daeho pulled her close with his good arm, holding her like she was the only thing keeping him standing. Around them, people celebrated and medical teams worked and life continued. But in that moment, there was just the two of them. A woman who had married a stranger, and a man who had finally found a reason to forgive himself. "We have 1 week," Una said. "Let's get to work." The next week was the hardest of Una's life. She worked 18 hours a day, digging through databases, following trails of evidence, and contacting sources across human and alien space. Deho worked beside her, his broken arm in a medical brace but his mind sharp. Together they pieced together the conspiracy. It was worse than they imagined. The conspiracy involved high-ranking officials in Terran Command who had profited from the border conflicts. They sold weapons to both sides. They manipulated intelligence reports. They sabotaged peace negotiations. And they used soldiers like Deho as disposable weapons to keep the wars going. "Look at this," Una said on the 4th day, pointing to a financial record. "Admiral Kwan received 50 million credits from a defense contractor 3 weeks before he ordered your mission to the Vral hive world. The same contractor that supplied the weapons used in that sector." Deho studied the document, his face grim. "And here, the intelligence officer that Commander Hythe mentioned, his name was Major Huang. According to these logs, he personally fabricated the reports about Vral military buildup. There was no invasion force, just peaceful hive cities. They found more communications between conspirators, bank records, testimony from soldiers who had questioned their orders and been silenced. The evidence was overwhelming. On the 6th day, Una compiled everything into a comprehensive report. She sent copies to every major news network in human space, to the Vral collective government, and to the Terran Assembly. She made it public. Impossible to cover up or deny. The reaction was immediate and explosive. The networks ran the story continuously. The Terran Assembly called emergency sessions. Protests erupted on Earth and across human colonies. People were outraged that their government had manipulated them into war for profit. Admiral Kwan and 6 other high-ranking officials were arrested. Major Huang had died years ago, but his family's wealth was seized. The defense contractors involved faced criminal charges. The entire military command structure was investigated. On the 7th day, Commander Hythe's ship returned to New Bektu orbit. Una and Deho met with the commander via holographic communication, with Governor Taman and other witnesses present. "You have kept your word," Commander Hythe said. "The truth is exposed. Those responsible will face justice in both human and Vral courts. My hive mother's honor is satisfied. Will there be peace between our peoples?" Una asked. "There will be truth. That is the foundation of peace. What you and the Blade of Terra have done is more than my 15 years of hunting could have achieved. You have given my hive mother's death meaning beyond revenge." The commander turned to Deho. "You are still responsible for the deaths of my people, but I understand now that you were also a victim of this conspiracy. The Viral Collective will not pursue you further. You may live in peace." Deho bowed deeply. "Thank you, Commander. I cannot undo what I did, but I will spend the rest of my life honoring the memory of those I killed. If there is ever anything I can do for your people, you need only ask. There is one thing. My people wish to establish an embassy here on New Bektu, a place where Viral and humans can work together, learn from each other, prevent such tragedies from happening again. Will you help us build it?" Deho looked surprised. "Me? Why would you want my help?" "Because you understand the cost of war. Because you chose peace over violence when you could have fought me. Because you are proof that even those who have done terrible things can change. That is a lesson worth preserving. I would be honored." After the communication ended, Una and Deho stood together in the command center. Around them, people celebrated. The crisis was over. Justice was being served. New Bektu was safe. "What happens now?" Deho asked quietly. "We rebuild," Una said. "The city. The colony. Your reputation." "I don't want a reputation. I just want to go home. To our small house with the garden. Back to fixing machines and growing tomatoes." Una smiled. "Is that really what you want? The galaxy knows who you are now. People will want to talk to you, interview you. Some will call you a hero. Others will still see you as a villain. I'm neither. I'm just a man who made terrible mistakes and is trying to do better." He looked at her. "But I can't go back to being silent, to pretending I'm someone I'm not. These last few weeks working with you, actually talking to you, it felt right. Like I was finally being honest. Then be honest. Be yourself. All of yourself. The soldier. The maintenance worker. The man who grows tomatoes and the man who can fight when he has to. She took his hand. Be my husband. For real this time. Deho squeezed her hand gently. I'd like that. But you should know what you're getting. I still have nightmares. I still see the faces of people I killed. Some days I can barely get out of bed. I'm damaged, Yuna. Broken in ways that don't show. Then we'll work on it together. I'm not perfect either. I spent 3 months married to you and never really tried to know you. I let duty and routine keep me from connecting. We both made mistakes. Can we really make this work? A real marriage? I think we already started. These last 7 days working together, talking, trusting each other. That's more real than anything we did in our first 3 months. Deho pulled her close, wrapping his good arm around her. I don't deserve you. Maybe not. But you're stuck with me anyway. She looked up at him. Besides, I kind of like having a husband who can fight off alien invasions when needed. It's a useful skill, he laughed. Actually laughed. It was the first time Yuna had heard it, and she loved the sound. 3 months later, life on New Bektu had found a new normal. The damaged buildings were rebuilt. The Viral Embassy was under construction. A beautiful building that combined human and alien architecture. Trade between New Bektu and the Viral Collective was stronger than ever. Deho returned to his job at the agricultural processing plant, but now he also consulted on the embassy project. He taught self-defense classes to colonists who wanted to learn. He gave talks at the local school about the importance of questioning authority and thinking for yourself. He was still quiet, still humble, but now he talked to people, made friends, laughed with his neighbors, and every evening he came home to Yuna. Their house was the same small building on the edge of the city, but it felt different now, warmer, more lived in. They cooked together, worked in the garden together, talked for hours about everything and nothing. One evening they sat on their porch watching the sunset. Yuna leaned against Deho, his arm around her shoulders. Do you regret it? She asked. Everything that happened. Which part? Any of it. The arranged marriage. The Viral attack. Having your past exposed. Deho thought for a long moment. I regret what I did 15 years ago. I'll always regret that. But the rest? No, because it led me here. To you, to this life. If none of that had happened, I would still be hiding. Still pretending. Still alone. Not alone anymore. No, not anymore. He kissed the top of her head. Thank you, Yuna. For what? For seeing me. Not the weapon. Not the ghost. Just me. Deho. The man who fixes machines and grows tomatoes and is trying very hard to be worthy of you. You already are. She turned to look up at him. You know what people say about you now? They call you the humble warrior. The man who could destroy armies but chooses to fix machines instead. They tell stories about how you raised your sword to protect your home, then put it away when the fighting was done. I don't like being famous. Too bad. You're stuck with it, she grinned. But look at the bright side. At least now when people see us together, they don't wonder why I married the quiet maintenance guy. Now they wonder why the quiet maintenance guy got so lucky. Yuna laughed. Exactly. They sat in comfortable silence watching the stars appear in the darkening sky. Somewhere up there, the Viral warship had been replaced by a diplomatic vessel. Commander Hythe was gone, but other Viral visited regularly, working on the new embassy and building relationships with the colony. Father asked me yesterday if I was happy, Yuna said, with the marriage he arranged. What did you tell him? I told him it was the best thing he ever did, that he gave me a husband who knows the cost of violence and chooses peace, who can fight when necessary but would rather grow vegetables, who saved our world and then went back to fixing machines like it was nothing. It wasn't nothing, it was everything. This world gave me a chance to be more than a weapon. I would have done anything to protect it. I know. That's what makes you special, Deho. You have all this power, all these skills, and you choose to use them only when you have to. You choose to be humble, to be ordinary. Even though you're anything but, I'm just a man. No, you're my man, and that makes you extraordinary. Deho smiled and pulled her closer. In the garden behind them, tomato plants grew heavy with fruit. In the city, people lived and worked and laughed, safe because one humble man had raised his sword when it mattered. And in the small house on the edge of New Bektu, 2 people who had started as strangers, brought together by an arranged marriage, had found something neither expected. Love, real, honest. Hard-won love. Governor Taman had arranged the marriage to keep his daughter close, but he had given her something far more valuable. He had given her a partner, a man who understood duty and honor, who knew when to fight and when to lay down his sword, who could be both warrior and gardener, defender and husband.